Hey folks, Ed Suzeski here. I'm the author of Reconnect, Spiritual Restoration from Digital Distraction. And unless you're living under a rock or hiding in the woods somewhere, you may know that its election is about 7 days away in America. And a lot of people are freaking out right now at this particular point as we wait for this election to come. And so I wanted to give about like 5 little simple practices you can do as alternatives to anxiety about this election. I'm someone who has my fair share of anxiety that I've had to deal with and work through. And so I hope that maybe some of the things that help me can also help you. So you may know, if you've read my book, that at the start of Reconnect, I have a little mantra, okay? And a lot of that will kind of guide some of the ideas I have here. So the mantra in Reconnect is protect your time, prioritize one-on-one interactions, and then restore your spirit with daily silence. So these are some practices that might help you as the election's kind of coming upon us right now to stay grounded, to stay spiritually focused while also, remaining aware of the basic things that are going on in our country. First of all, I want to say to people, don't just, think that I need to calm down, or, if someone has an anxiety attack, the worst thing you can say is calm down. It doesn't work. It doesn't help. If you could push a button that would make you calm down, you would push that button, right? So first of all, feel your feelings, know what's going on, and assess it. Assess what do I fear? What could happen? What could happen to me personally? What could happen to people I love? What could happen to people in our country and the vulnerable in our country? Feel those emotions and try to get a sense of what's going on as you work through them. Definitely seek ways to manage the anxiety, but when you have some clear-headed moments, just assess what's going on instead of, trying to make yourself calm down. So that's kind of like a big picture, feel your feelings, okay? And now here are just a couple of ideas for how to, move away from that anxiety that you might feel. So first of all, no doom scrolling. Don't just keep scrolling through social media endlessly. Try to set timers. You can use a Pomodoro timer for a 5-minute break or something like that. You can use blocks like self-control. So there's lots of different apps and things out there where you can limit your social media use. I've made a real intentional effort in the past month or two to limit my social media usage because I'm we're kind of hungry to know what's going on, what's going to happen with this election. So that can turn into doom scrolling really quick, and you start to see all these reactions and everything. The other thing is to avoid the clickbait news. And so even legit news sites will have clickbait headlines or articles or opinion pieces. Their goal, even with responsible journalists, there are also people who want traffic. They want eyeballs. They want viewers. They need to sell ads. They're going to use clickbait titles. And so it'll be, some random poll will say, can you believe that this politician's lead is collapsing, or this, some calamity is about to hit, or whatever. And it might just be, a freak poll, or, a bad interpretation of a poll or something like that. So be aware of that. So keep up on some of the headlines and things like that, but watch out for those kind of clickbaity titles on news sites. I generally am trying to avoid even just going to news website homepages for the most part to browse through things. I'm just trying to look for what's a couple of the main news stories. I'll read them and kind of get a sense of that without going through the whole site and getting sucked into all the newsertainment that they've got. And then the other thing is stick to pros. So if there is something about a poll that has you worried, go check out a professional perspective. So there are Twitter accounts for Dave Wasserman. He's from the Cook Political Report. I think it's Redistrict is his handle on Twitter. And there's also Nate Silver of the 538. I know that kind of got a lot of criticism for its predictions about the last election in 2016. But if you look at actually some of the things that they were saying in the days leading up to the 2016 election, they were actually predicting, they started to say things were kind of moving in the direction that it went. So get expert opinions to evaluate things. So a lot of times I've seen a poll that I think might mean something, and I'll go and check out what these experts have to say, and they'll offer some analysis that kind of helps me put it into perspective and see other general trends. Obviously, you can't find all of your relief on your devices, on your computer, on your smartphone, on social media. You need analog stuff. You need to get out. So I'm getting out with I'm exercising. I'm doing woodworking. I'm doing things with my hands that get me away from screens. So find some activities, whether it's a craft or whether it's an exercise or a sport, something just to get away from the whole crush of all this stuff. There's really only so much you can know, only so much you can do in a given day. You don't need to be on social media or news websites for much longer than 5 or 10 minutes to just learn what you need to learn. Next is just besides like that physical restoration of like exercising or getting away to do a craft, make that space for silence too, because for me, what I've seen is that when I immerse myself in my smartphone, in social media, that's when I have the least amount of time for prayer. That's not a mistake. And so that's not to put like guilt on people to say like when you're on your phone, you should be praying. It's more a matter of you only have so many hours in a day. Think about how much time you give to your phone, and then think about, okay, can I kind of reallocate some of this time towards spiritual practices? So restore your soul. Think about the things both mentally and spiritually that can restore you and help you kind of become more grounded and just more aware of what matters the most in life and around you. Not to say the election isn't important, but you can just immerse yourself into so many little details that are just frankly beyond your control. And finally, talk to someone about it. Make a one-on-one interaction instead of social media binging and doom scrolling. So, if you catch yourself drawn to social media to go find out what people are saying or to say something, maybe as an alternative, text somebody or call somebody or email somebody and just see how they're feeling and share how you're doing, what you're processing, and get their perspective and reaction. So instead of doing that kind of scattershot connection on social media at a time when you're feeling stressful, maybe make a more meaningful interaction with someone personally who really knows you. And it could be someone that you've met through social media. It's not that all social media is like shallow and bad, but just that at a time when maybe you're feeling anxious or you're worried about the future, it might do a lot more good if you could just speak with someone directly and voice those concerns. So that's just a little list of some things that have helped me, that I found helpful with managing my anxiety over the past several years. There's a lot more about that in Reconnect, but if you don't want to read Reconnect, you don't have to, and you can just try out some of these practices and see if they help, and treat it like an experiment. The election is about a week away, so we just have a little bit longer to kind of muddle through all this. So we'll see you on the other side.